I don't know whether I should laugh or cry at this particular situation. After a 4-hour rain delay, and because of everything that has happened in the wet outfield and all these things,
And it's raining again.
8:30 we are expecting some good news that 9 o'clock we may see a start. But no.
No good.
Colombo's rain gods have ensured that, boss, we rain again.
Just when you thought
Yeah.
that the umpires would say, maybe it's ready for the match to happen.
Although the chances of it were also 50-50.
Yeah,
if you have to look at
But
the line.
that patch was really
The
concerning.
ultimate anticlimax.
Absolutely. So now what will happen if I have to again say the playing conditions? Now if there is no further, no,
कुछ भी नहीं
listen.
पता.
So see, now this will take another 1.5 hours. Okay, if the rain relents in the next half an hour, 40 minutes, you will not get play started before 10.
Yeah.
That means most likely you're looking at that cutoff of 10:36 p.m.
And even that then would pretty much ensure that India aren't batting again.
Yes. So if
Then it becomes a 20-over showdown.
20 over showdown. And remember, today if you don't get any further play, then tomorrow it will begin at 24.1 all over again. Because no announcement has been made as to the over reduction.
By the way, looking at it, it's getting worse.
Boring.
It is getting much worse.
Because the covers also, more and more of them are coming back.
The-
Huh?
Oh my
entire-
god, it's not entirely covered, so that's going to
Now it
hamper.
is.
No,
Now
no,
it
no.
is.
So there's still patches which aren't covered, so that's again going to be...
Clearly you can make out that it's
You
gotten
can't make out
heavier.
anything.
It's gotten heavier and it's misty also now.
Yeah.
It's so foggy.
Yep. That's the situation right now in Colombo. So, if you're looking at a washed out date today, tomorrow you will begin from 24.1. And you will have the full 50 overs.
Yeah.
Full 50 overs, by the way. But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, tomorrow the weather is also not good.
Exactly.
It's worse than
It's
today.
worse than today. And remember, if the rain begins around at this time in the night, traditionally it carries on throughout.
Yeah.
And you'll have a bit of a respite in the morning, but you'll still have a lot of wet patches. So, even if you get rain tomorrow, you'll have to wait for the same amount of time. You'll have to wait until there is a particular opening and then you can have those overs in. Otherwise, even on 11th, the weather is, they say it is 99% chances, but we are proven wrong for 2 to 3 days. And that's why now chances of play happening today, I think with this
if
now
I'm being
are
polite.
pretty bleak.
Yeah.
Pretty bleak because the rain has to stop now. In the next 5 minutes, it has to stop.
Oh, look at that. No. We may as well call it a night.
No, I don't think it's
Dex-
happening.
Dex saying better shake hands.
I agree
That
with
can only
you.
happen
Reserve
tomorrow.
day. That's
Can
a
only
reserve
happen
day.
tomorrow. Dex.
That to 24 hours from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't happen if it continues to rain, let's say around 7:38 tomorrow.
That's
Further than that,
That's
if
a
it continues to
thunderstorm,
have the
come on.
kind of
It's a storm. This
Yeah,
is a proper
it's a
storm.
storm.
That,
no.
and this is the
They are calling it
typical.
off. I think very soon you're gonna get that update. Nikhil's joining us
Yeah.
rather soon. In fact, as I speak, I've been informed that Nikhil is with us now. Nikhil, what we can see on our screens at the moment, and you're the man there. You see it all happening in front of you. It doesn't look, forget promising. It doesn't look
it looks bad.
good at any by any stretch of imagination.
It's over. It's done. Finito. Khatam. Khalas. Whichever
Bye-bye.
word you want to use. It's done.
Chalo,
It's
kal
done.
Nikhil.
Bye bye. Tata. See you.
We wish.
It's done.
Yeah.
It's done. Basically, the irony of the whole thing is that the powers that be, the gods above, don't want an India-Pakistan game because it stopped raining at about 6:15, and we thought that 1 hour would be the turnaround time, but it's taken them close to 3 hours to turn it around. They would have turned it around by 9 o'clock, 3 hours. But then that was never going to be enough. 3 hours of turnaround time, frankly, not good enough. So just when you were going to have some sort of play, 15-20 minutes before that, the rains come down and heavy rain at that. So if the cutoff is 10:36 today for a 20 over match, it's 10:36, which is exactly 2 hours away from here. There's no chance in hell that that you're going to have that, because if you've taken 3 hours to turn around that particular rain break, I doubt that you can turn this around in 2 hours. So I think maybe not now. They officially might wait for another hour, around 9:10, 9:15, something like that. They'll come and say, done, captains will shake hands. Oh, no, not shake hands actually, yeah. Unlike Palekale, because they'll be told that go back home and come back tomorrow. But let me just sum that out for you. I think it's not such a bad thing if you're looking at it from India's perspective, because a shortened game would have meant, because remember India batted the 24, 25 overs thinking that they're batting for 50 overs. And then you would have told them that no, it's a 31 over game or a 32, which is effectively 6, 7 over more to play. So, in Hindi they would say, "It's a dhoka ho gaya," it would have been a dhoka, because you would have then tried to bat at 9, 10 and over, whatever, and got to a total. Then Duckworth Lewis would have adjusted their total, assuming, let's say India won 147 and you got another 6 overs. Let's say they even got 10 and over, that's 60 runs. So that would have been adjusted to about 210. 210 is what they would have scored, but they would have got another 15, 20 runs because of Duckworth Lewis. It would have become 225, 230 for a 30 over game. 230 wouldn't have been that tough for Pakistan. Similarly, India were primed to get to 300 plus, easy, 320 actually, in batting first. That would have been like they'd have to bat out of their skins to get there, Pakistan, in these conditions. And 235 and 30 overs is something that they would have fancied themselves chasing, because shorter thing, you could have attacked, you knew from the word go, that's what you need to get. Your batting lineup, is long enough for you to keep attacking. So that would have suited Pakistan. So India, in that sense, would have been happy that okay, it's rained out, because then you come tomorrow, and because not even a single ball was bowled, it doesn't become a shortened game. Just as Siddharth had explained earlier, let's say it had become a 31 over game and India came and bowled 1 over. If the rain was delayed by another 20 minutes, India would have come and batted 1 over, and then it would have remained a 35 over game, even though you would have had to come tomorrow, or 32 over, or 30 over, whatever. Then that I think would have been tricky for him. So,
Nikhil, I think you got an update. Play has been called off. Play has been called off.
Okay, that's it. I thought as much. Play has been called off. So yeah, I thought as much. That's what I said. I announced it 5 minutes before it was called off, right? Finito, khatam, tata, bye bye.
Yes.
That is what had to happen. So that is what has happened. But just coming back to the point, I think India would have been happy that you come tomorrow, maybe get a full day's play. We'll get an idea of how the weather is tomorrow. So which would make things very interesting. So I don't know. It's not that bad. I know everyone would have prepared themselves for a Sunday game, made their plans. Monday, a lot of them would be working. So a bummer in that count. But overall, in point of view of a result, and remember the result is important because you're fighting for finals qualification. Sri Lanka got 2 points. Pakistan already has 2 points. India does not. So if you're fighting for a finals qualification, then I think Rohit Sharma and co wouldn't have been unhappy. They would have been unhappy that the innings got interrupted when they were throwing, but wouldn't be very unhappy that now it's called off and it still remains a 50 over game.
Yeah.
So if you change the title, play called off, game remains 50 over, starts tomorrow.
It's done. Yep.
Super.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now part 2 of chapter 2. India versus Pakistan, the most unfair game that will ever be played in the history of cricket on September 11th, 2023. Congratulations.
Why?
Thank you, Rain.
I think there have been unfairer days.
Yaar Siddharth, again people are worried about India Pakistan not happening and you're going unfair, fair, whatever.
It is unfair.
Sri Lankan board has come out and said, Bangladesh board has come out and said we have no problem.
Do they have a choice?
Doesn't matter. You have to stand up for your rights. If they're not standing up for it, then who are you and I?
I mean, see, Bangladesh now anyway don't have a moral ground to stand on because they're only mathematically alive. But what wrong did Sri Lanka do? Let them also have a reserve day on September 13th.
Let Sri Lanka register a complaint. Call up all your friends in higher up places of power. Well, let them register a complaint.
I will take back those words.
Why aren't they registering a complaint?
I just need you to check the phone, please.
Yeah, because I will take back those words under only one condition. If the rain persists on 12th and you have a reserve day for even the 13th, India versus Sri Lanka,
It won't happen.
it won't happen. So I am not wrong in stating that India versus Pakistan Chapter 2 Part 2 is going to be the most unfair game in the history of cricket.
Don't worry, I think tomorrow also will get wasted at this rate.
Because the weather for tomorrow is also pretty bad at this point in time.
So if tomorrow it rains, the karma has got
Either
to be
which
there.
way.
Yeah.
Either which way. So, I wish and I wish not that we get a proper game. And anyway, some people are pointing out that if you had started it in the day, you would probably have had a result. But then that is not the choice of the players or of the boards. It's the broadcaster's choice. Peak viewing time is 2 to 10. You couldn't have had it in the day. It wasn't even considered.
Yeah, actually, that's the thing. It was not even an option.
It wasn't even an option because 9 to 6, folks, is not prime time. Morning.
No, from where it stopped.
So unfortunately, I don't think that was ever an option. And again, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this, truth be told, because again, you knew that this was
Feel
going to be a
happy.
problem. That's why
I
you
tell
had
you
a
how to
reserve
feel
day,
about
but-
it. Feel happy about it. As an
Indeed.
Indian fan, feel happy about it. You will get to see an India-Pakistan encounter. You could not get to see one in Palakele. You probably wouldn't have been able to see one here finish. Have a reserve day. Hopefully, you will get to see a full encounter. So feel happy about it. I'll tell you exactly how to feel. Tell me the last time India-Pakistan played a 50-over game. I want to know.
2019.
2019 World Cup. That too, luckily you got through. You got through because of rain even then. Okay, without
Yes.
any rain interruption, 2018.
And it looks like
What
it's
date
not
was it
raining,
exactly?
has it?
What date was it exactly?
What date? June.
I'll check.
It was June 21st, if I'm not mistaken. 2019, yeah. It was, I think, June 21st, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know the
Because
exact date.
5 June started, India's campaign started on 5 June. India, South Africa. And then I think June 13th was India, New Zealand that got
16th.
16th. June 16th, yes.
Oh.
Okay. So 4 years, 3 months, and 5 days later, isn't it?
Huh?
Oh God, I just don't know. I
5
can't
days?
wrap my head around this fact that you're going to have a reserve day just for this particular game.
No, and for the final also. Let's be fair.
Finals are okay.
Final makes sense.
Yeah.
If you had reserve day for all the Super 4 games, I would not even have made such a sweeping statement. But it is a sweeping statement. It is reaching unfair territory. Supposing you get a result tomorrow, which might happen. What wrong did the other teams do? They are not getting a reserve day for them to push the result. If Sri Lanka, India gets the rain impact, they'll get only 1 point.
Yeah.
Bangladesh, India, although Bangladesh are eliminated, they'll get only 1 point. What wrong did they
To be
do?
fair, Bangladesh should probably hope it gets washed out because that's the only hope of getting a point.
Yes, that is the situation. So, I don't know. It's play will resume tomorrow, and remember, it's like 2019 New Zealand semi-final.
Yeah, it resumes from the exact same point where it kind of got left off.
Exactly. So I don't know. There'll be more cut-off times. They'll extend it all the way until all this. So I just don't know what to make of this. But today, very bittersweet day. It started.
I would say
off
it's a
well.
frustrating day. I mean, let's be fair.
It is.
But
Very frustrating.
I said bittersweet because sweet. You saw the batting of
Batting,
Shubman
yeah.
Gill and
And Rohit, yeah, that was the only
Wonderful
positive.
batting.
Shubman in particular, man, he was batting like a man possessed.
Hmm.
Rohit made it up later, which seems to be his new ODI template at this time. So that is the way, but unfortunately the rain had to come in Colombo. All our predictions, it may not rain.
Actually, see, we were basing it off what we saw of the past couple of days.
ठीक है रे।
Past couple of days, it was actually okay in terms of.
Valid
I mean,
tomorrow.
yesterday you didn't have a single interruption, so because of that, you actually thought that maybe, just maybe, you'd actually manage to get, if not a full game today, we were hopeful that at least you'd get 50 plus 20. Which meant one way or another the match result
Match,
would be
yeah.
constituted. That didn't happen.
So people who are just having a bit of confusion over the playing conditions, you are going to have a full 50 over contest tomorrow.
Starting at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. If there was a reduction in overs which was announced and you had played even one ball, then it would have started tomorrow as a 34 over game or a 30 over game.
Whatever the reduced
Whatever
overs would
the
have
it
been.
is. Yes. But now India will bat for another 25.5 overs.
And then
No DLS adjusted target, no nothing. Pakistan will have to chase down the total that will be set to them tomorrow.
But again, guys, we will be at the mercy of the rain gods tomorrow.
Tomorrow the
Again.
rain predictions are even more.
And once again, as much as I hate saying this, once again you could have a scenario wherein the Indian side is battered.
And that's it.
But this is actually not a good situation because remember, if India are batting tomorrow, which I mean without any rain interruptions or anything, they are playing again on the 12th.
Exactly.
3 consecutive days the Indian team is
That's
playing in
the first,
ODI.
no, Siddharth?
No, it's happened in 2018.
3 back-to-back days.
2 back-to-back
So
days.
this will be 3.
Yeah,
It is the first.
it is the first. 3 days you're playing 2 ODIs. And that too one that has spilled over into the other day. Oh goodness, I mean,
Tomorrow, if let's say, in a hypothetical scenario, if tomorrow's game is to end in the stipulated time and hopefully without any interruptions per se, then it would have been what? 1.5 matches for India? How would you look at it? Half a match from tomorrow, 1.5 match, let's say, or innings from tomorrow, plus a full game day after.
see, I don't know. At this point, the rain is wreaked havoc in such a way. We don't know how many overs the Indian team is going to bat. We don't know how many overs the Indian bowlers are going to get. Remember, this Super 4s, we are looking at testing out how much our bowlers are doing, especially Jasprit Bumrah in particular. Bumrah hasn't bowled at all.
He hasn't bowled a
At
single
all.
ball in this
And
tournament.
then we'll possibly go on to bowl for 2 consecutive days.
Yes, could happen.
I don't see him bowling tomorrow.
Because the weather is bad.
The weather is terrible.
Yep.
Terrible.
You'll have a same situation.
Yeah.
3 o'clock you'll start, 25 overs, by 5 you'll end.
And then you might just see the rain come into play.
Pakistan would have batted for 1-2 hours, but then after that the rain will come.
No, how 1-2 hours? The match starts at 3 tomorrow.
But you'll only be playing 25.5 overs.
Yeah,
na?
even then.
So you get about 2 hours.
hours.
20,
2 hours.
2 hours to finish there. And then, okay, let's say what happens if it starts raining during the mid innings.
Because what happened was today it started at 4:50.
Exactly.
The rain
Yeah.
started at 4:50.
So it could very well start in the mid innings, then you're again done for.
Yep. But it is incompetency. This is heights of incompetency that is there at this point in time.
Also, I would say height of privilege, because why aren't we playing at Hum and Tota?
Forget privilege. The privilege factor comes because it's India and Pakistan.
Because it's India.
Everybody, and I'll tell all, because we are all Indian fans, we are all thinking, oh, why you have to spoil the party, oh, why you're not against it. Cricket has to be a level playing field. In that case, if you have to look at it, oh, India can ask, oh, sir, if we want to win the World Cup in 2023, we let the other team play with 11 people, we will play with 15 people. We want to win, right? So don't be a party pooper in that sense, isn't it? Why, I can very well demand, right? Oh, Harry Brook, Ben Stokes, can you please play for India? You're not getting picked in the World Cup. We'll play with 15 people. We want to win the World Cup. That is how foolish this current situation is.
And also, you know what it really tells you is that right now, this one match is bigger than your entire tournament. And I think then that's a damning indictment of the state of your tournament. Because then your tournament is irrelevant if it just requires this one match multiple times.
It's a damning indictment of the state of cricket also.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Look at this. Look at cricket being played otherwise as well. And let's just talk about India. How many 5-match Test series is India playing now?
Barely.
You're only playing it against Australia, Madagascar, and you're playing it against England, which is also now starting to happen. You're playing just 2 Test matches. You're now just playing 2 Test matches against South Africa.
See, but South Africa it's actually not really India's fault. That is also partly down to South Africa not giving much relevance to their test this thing, because it just doesn't. Again, the same problem comes in. It doesn't bring in enough money. It's not. It's a fact that South Africa play without a jersey sponsor in Test cricket. That's the state of the game in the country right
And
now.
remember, nowadays your tests and ODIs are sacrificed at the altar when it comes to South Africa
SA20.
because of SA20.
Yeah.
Correct.
They had the audacity to cancel a 3-match ODI series
And
against
risk
whom?
Australia and risk playing the qualifiers of the World Cup.
Exactly.
World Cup. That tells you where the priorities are.
I can imagine if they had cancelled a 3-match series in Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe,
But
Afghanistan.
against Australia. Australia, 5-time champions. My goodness.
Well, at the moment, they shouldn't even be cancelling it against Netherlands.
Exactly.
Exactly. No, but see, that's the thing. You're talking about Asia Cup and you're talking about the state of cricket. in India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and who's the fourth powerhouse team? Bangladesh, I don't count. But of the 6 teams, you have 3 that are actual world champions.
Exactly.
Sri Lanka are your second most Asia Cup title winners.
They are your
also-
defending champions. Yeah.
Exactly.
They have also completed almost the set except the World Test Championship.
Correct.
They have won the Champions
Yeah.
Trophy. I mean, they shared it with India.
But still, that counts.
They're World
World
Cup winners,
T20.
they're World Cup finalists.
Yeah. And
Champions Trophy,
On
yeah.
more than one occasion, by the way.
So the only thing that they haven't done actually is the WTC.
Same with India also.
Correct.
I mean, it's it's a shame on sports. I think at this point,
Yeah.
not just cricket, because you wouldn't see this happening in any other sport.
Correct.
Leave any other sport. This wouldn't be happening if this was an ICC event.
Yeah.
See, because it's India Pakistan, I can imagine the double standards that the Indian and Pakistani fans would have been absolutely fuming with. Oh, okay. Since Sri Lanka are in a better position to qualify for the final, why can't we keep India Sri Lanka or Pakistan Sri Lanka on a reserve day?
See,
They will. These same fans.
It is just a blatant admission, Siddharth, of there being power play now and money actually, doing the talk at the moment. And this has all come down to viability now of the game.
Yeah.
There is no legitimacy left anymore.
Yeah,
This
the
Asia Cup.
Asia Cup has proved that it's a. I mean, to be fair, is there any legitimacy in either the Asia Cup or the ACC as a board?
Hardly.
That's true.
Hardly. Because if you wanted to genuinely have a concern about cricket,
In
then
Asia,
do not
yeah.
have this kind of a situation. Let me tell you one more thing, okay? How many times India have gone out of their way to play the minnow countries?
Barely.
Zimbabwe, they do it as a favor, okay? How many times have they played Ireland in an ODI?
They
In a
haven't.
Test match.
They haven't. Ireland, they've never played in
Exactly,
a test match.
and the whole point of having ACC as a board, as a council, is to grow cricket.
Or at
as
least
a
strengthen
sport.
Asian cricket.
Yeah, Asian cricket in minnow
Yeah, again,
countries.
it's the same thing
What?
about what they say for economies. The disparity with economies, like you see and say so often, that the rich get richer, the poorer get poorer, the poor get poorer. It's exactly that theory happening here. Exactly that. The strong are only growing stronger, and the poor, and don't mean any particular country over here, but let's say the weaker nations
The boards.
economically are only gonna get weaker.
Correct. And what is.
And this will hurt cricket
As a
even
whole.
more if, let's say, there comes a situation in this tournament, and it will happen over the next 5 days itself. We'll get to see that. If Sri Lanka are denied, let's say, an opportunity to be in the final, it very well could be the scenario, guys. Because if you see tomorrow's rain prediction, if we are to assume that the match does get washed out, then India have 1 point.
Yes, because see, I will again clarify a lot of things to our family members, okay? We wouldn't even have been discussing the unfair aspect of it if you had a result today.
Or if better yet, if every other knockout match or knockout
Had
match,
a-
Super
Had a
4
reserve
had a
day.
reserve day. If that was the case.
Yeah, you cannot nitpick and have for just one match.
Horses for courses.
What wrong did the other? Then they should have said that, oh please, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, you did well in the group stages. Please stay out. There is no super force. We are playing 4 or 5 India versus Pakistan matches. That's about it. Make that arrangement and at least you would have fumed, but okay, we understand the broader picture of, oh, you want to save cricket, you want to get the eyeballs, the ACC has to be rescued, you're heading towards financial ruin. I understand all that. Then make that admission. We want to see only India-Pakistan games. Why put Sri Lanka and Bangladesh under the bus? Why throw them under the bus then?
Say, and in that case, imagine, I feel even worse for a Nepal or Afghanistan. They really don't have any say in this. I mean, we're talking about Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. Sri Lanka, Bangladesh at least put out statements.
You
These
know-
guys were just.
There is a
Doesn't matter.
there is a popular cartoon that came up. Okay, remember when Chandrayaan became a success? There was a cartoon that was run. US and UK are in a special club. India with a cow. This thing they're trying to knock.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Now, if I have to use the same thing,
The same analogy can be used here, you're saying.
India and Pakistan are in the elite. The likes of Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, they're all trying to knock on the door. They're trying to now say, can we also get an equal this thing?
Yeah.
And everyone's at the mercy of BCCI.
Yeah, and remember,
And the
every
ACC?
single time when that cartoon came up for Chandrayaan, all our Indians rallied behind the patriotism. Oh, like the West is elitist. Then what is the BCCI then? Elitist. This kind of arrangement is elitist, reeks of elitism.
And it doesn't even reek of elitism. This is favoritism at its finest. That okay, just these two guys are getting a reserve game. Rest of you guys, hardly matters. You'll
See, I understand that some people have said, okay, Shane, just can you make us understand, because there was a football analogy used here. It regarded the La Liga between Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Correct.
Now,
Revenue
what is
share.
the thing and how different like, why is it flawed to use that in the cricketing part?
It's not flawed because
It's exactly what's
it's
happening
exactly
now.
what's happening.
So
I'll
it's
explain.
exactly what's happening.
I'll explain. So when and I'll a bit of a story here. So bear with me. Leave aside La Liga. Let's first look at the formation of what is now known as the Premier League that happened in 1991.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the reasons they did that, they broke away from what was the established football league, was because they saw a potential to monetize the game even more through Sky Sports. Now the thing is, at that point, when the newly formed Premier League came together, what they did with Sky is they negotiated the TV rights as a collective unit.
For all the stakeholders.
For all the 20 clubs.
There is no one stakeholder bigger than the other.
Yeah, and that's despite
That's
the fact that if you look at the Premier League now, if you're talking legacy clubs, you have a Manchester United, an Arsenal, a Liverpool, legacy clubs. In the newer money, you will have a City, a Chelsea, these kind of clubs who in recent times became big because of injections of cash. But they all negotiate as a unit. Now, one of the reasons La Liga ended up falling behind so badly, despite having not just Real and Barca, but also at one point of time Messi, Ronaldo, was because
and even before that, Ronaldinho,
Zidane, Beckham, etc. All of these guys were there playing in Spain. But why did they fall behind? Because Real Madrid and Barcelona would negotiate their TV rights separately. But because they were big clubs, the TV companies were more than happy to fork over the money. But the other clubs struggled because they weren't getting enough revenue. And the thing is that nowadays, in today's day and age, that ticket sales are not the primary source of revenue. Television money is.
Like how it's happening with cricket.
Correct. And that is why it's the same thing. It's like India and Pakistan in this case are the Real and Barca who are lording over everyone else. Yep. So if you're not going to distribute it equally, and in fact now if you look at it, La Liga have started doing that, wherein they negotiate it as a league rather than everyone negotiating their separate. That is the best way to grow the league.
But then that's different with the Bundesliga.
No, a Bundesliga and every other this thing, by the way, all negotiated similarly. They negotiated as a entity. So I'll give you another example. So recently, and you're talking about you can't, if you're talking about things being purely from a perspective of sporting, let's say equity. Formula One.
Yeah.
From 2021 onwards, that a sport which has always been seen as a rich man's sport has adopted a budget cap.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, every team adheres to. One team did adhere to it, and they were hit with heavy fines. And not just fines, they were actually hit with bans that could hurt them sportingly. Yep. This year, 2020 for 2022, not a single team breached it. And the thing is that, obviously those kind of advantages that you get more often than not take time to overdo. Yep. But you have to do it together.
Yep.
In fact, the Premier League, just to add to your point, Shane, has revised it as well to make it far more inclusive.
Correct.
Because with whatever, how Premier League started and all, again, I think it was only in 18-19, the 18-19 season that they revised that and made it far more inclusive by saying, okay, 50% will go equally amongst everyone.
Correct.
The other 25 will be based on where the teams finish. The other 25 will be based on facilities. So again, they tried to make it as inclusive as possible.
Yep. So we are now joined back by Nikhil, or no, he's again lost it. So, okay, in just one short thing, okay, did ego play a role in any of the La Liga or the?
Yeah, of course, ego played a role.
The ego of a Real Madrid, the ego of a Barcelona, the ego of a Atletico Madrid.
So, I had stressed on the ego bit because ACC, this current India versus Pakistan situation, the unfairness of it is all cropped up because of the ego tussle that is there between the PCB and the BCCI.
And ironically, by the way, another good, sort of, let's say, similarity is that Real and Barca actually can't stand each other, but they're similar to each other in more ways than they realize.
Same with India and Pakistan.
Exactly.
Both want to eat the cake and make it, but no, we will fight you. We will be hostile. We'll go against you.
They want the biggest slice of the pie among themselves.
Yes.
But if any outsider tries to come in, then it's a united front.
It's a united front. And let me tell you one more thing about India and Pakistan. I don't know how authentic the reports are, but the idea of a reserve day was actually proposed by the PCB.
What?
That is the reports I'm getting. I don't know how authentic it is, But if the PCB are to be blamed, if they have proposed this and if it is true, then I'm sorry, boss. The Pakistan Cricket Board can go to any lengths to ensure that they get the huge share of the money that is there. They can bend the rules. I mean, if it's Pakistan, I agree. They can go to any lengths. It's there in their psyche to ensure that they can bend the rules and get away with it.
That's why. So another example to like what you're talking about here, in the sense that these teams are rivals on field, but off field they're being kind of collaborative.
Yep.
That's what happened even during the European Super League.
Yes.
I was coming to that.
But
I was just coming to
You
that.
have to hold on to that because Nikhil's back and the connection was interrupted, but he's back and he's at. You're outside the Ketarama, is it, Nikhil?
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah. So has it stopped raining or is it still raining?
Just a very slight drizzle. A very slight drizzle, but not very heavy. You can see fans right behind me, Pakistani fans just leaving. But the drizzle is okay. I mean, as you can see, I don't know whether it's clear or not. There is a bit of drizzle. I'm kind of getting wet, but I think it's still worth risking going live with you guys. So what I'm going to do though, cover my back because the water might, seep into all the electronic gadgets that I have inside. Yeah, I've covered that up. Now it's getting a bit heavy. So let me find.
A safe space, yes. Please do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's getting a bit happier as I speak.
But
So-
once you settle down, Nikhil, I have the most important question for you of the night. So yeah, once you settle down, I shall come to you.
Okay. I'm all ears. Go
Yeah.
So
ahead.
that's the
Go ahead with your most important question.
Go ahead.
I can hear you.
All right. What I want to know from you is how sharp weather expert do you think you're going to return whenever you are returning?
Your voice is breaking. I should come again.
Yeah.
I was saying, how sharp a weather expert do you think you're going to return?
I'll only return much worse than I was because earlier I still had some faith in my punditry when it comes to weather, but this particular trip has totally ruined it for me. Been a dampener because I keep looking at the apps, I keep looking at the website and whatever it says, it's completely one good thing that I picked up in terms of skill fact that now I can read the movement of the clouds very well. So that's one good thing that I picked up. But otherwise, my punditry of weather overall has taken a hit because I've got as many hits as misses. That's because I rely on weather apps and Met Department predictions, and the weather app and Met Department prediction got it horribly wrong this time around, whether it was Candy or whether it was
Yep. No one has gotten the weather right. No one. That's how unpredictable the weather has been.
I mean, to be fair,
Colombo and Palakkad.
you'd be forgiven for thinking you were playing this Asia Cup in England. That's how unpredictable the weather has been.
No, I think we are not sports journalists. This Asia Cup has exposed we are not sports journalists.
Weather
we are
journalists.
trying
Well,
to
man.
be meteorologists. We are trying to. Because every single build-up, if you look at it when it came to India, it's been rain, and nothing but
And
rain.
not just India, every match. There is not, except the Pakistan, right?
Exactly.
Except the Pakistan. That was the only time where you knew rain was playing, no problems whatsoever.
Exactly. So Nikhil and I and all of us, I think we should change our designation to meteorologists now, isn't it, Nikhil?
Oh, they seem to be, huh?
No.
I think he's moving to a better.
Yeah, sorry, come again.
Yeah, I think
Come again.
Nikhil, after you come back, and all of us, I think we'll have to change our designation from sports journalists to meteorologists, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe. But you know what? I mean, you'd have to work really hard, doubly hard for being a meteorologist. It requires a lot of degree.
Yes.
All you guys sitting there have done precious little, including me, when it comes to education, and we are all sports journalists. For being meteorologists, you and I had to burn the midnight oil and get far tougher, greater degrees. And you and I can now get by faffing around when it comes to sport. Predicting the weather still remains a science for which
Yes.
people study. So no, you won't get that designation, not until you pass all those science tests.
But Nikhil, looking at the mood of, I mean, both the Pakistan camp and the Indian camp, what would you feel? Where is India going to be the happier of the team that you're going to see a full 50-over game tomorrow, or do you think Pakistan, it doesn't matter to them? What do you think? And even the mood of
No.
fans.
No. I think there'll be a team which will clearly be happier and without doubt to be the Indian team for multiple reasons. And I say that the timing of the rain. Imagine 20 minutes here and there. So while Indian fans would be aggrieved right now that the weather gods denied us a game on Sunday, but they should also be thankful to the weather god, because had the rain spell come 15-20 minutes here and there, you would have had a 32-over game or 34-over game, whatever you may have been decided on.
True.
And even if one ball was bowled or one over was bowled, it would have remained a 34-over game for the next day as well. So I think in terms of the Indian team, I think in terms of the Indian fans, it's good that it remains a 50-over game, because I tell you, in a 50-over game, just looking at where India was with 8 wickets in hand, halfway through the stage, I mean, minimum, I'm looking at 320, minimum. Because you're not only going to double it, you actually double the score, which comes at the 30-over mark. Here you're at the 25-over mark. If I were to just double that, that's 300. You assume India gets 20-30 more, considering towards the end they will accelerate. Minimum, you're looking at 320-30 if nothing drastically goes wrong. That on this track is a winning total. More often than not, you're winning the game with that sort of a total. But reverse that situation to, let's say, a 30-over game that you would have had, which means India comes and bats for 6 overs. 6 overs, if you go bang, 10 runs and over, 60, add 60 to 147, you go, 210, you'll get another 15 runs, probably, adjustment of Duckworth-Lewis. That takes it to, let's say, another 20, 230. 230 in 30 overs, not a big total. Not a big total. With the full batting order to play, you can be attacking. You don't have to bat the full 50 overs. 320 is intimidating in 50 overs. 230 in 30 overs is not intimidating at all. So Pakistan would have preferred that. So from Indian point of view, they'd be happier, hoping that tomorrow they get a full game. Again, don't ask me about the weather tomorrow. Apparently, there's 90% chance again tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens tomorrow. But all I'm saying is it'll be happier. But if it doesn't happen that way, if it's a shortened game, then so be it. What do you do? But at the moment, giving yourself a chance for a full 50-over game, Indian fans, Indian team would be happier.
Yep. Nikhil, why did I ask that question is because, see, now you're going to see today India have played, tomorrow India will play, 12th also India is going to play against Sri Lanka. Now, as far as fitness, as far as fatigue is concerned, it isn't an ideal situation, isn't it?
It isn't, but I think the Indian team would look to rotate anyway, and I think what they can do, they have the luxury of the fast bowlers, they can look to rotate that as well. Remember, they also have Prasidh Krishna in their rank. So maybe for certain games, you could look at rotating that. I think your batters wouldn't mind. Your batters would want to play. They need some game time. And also remember, even if it was to go over 2 days, you really haven't gone the full distance of 50 overs, right? So effectively over 2 days, you'll still play 50 overs. So the workload in that sense will be a lot, just that recovery time would be less. So I don't think they'll mind. It's a situation that, you are faced with. And quite often in domestic cricket, sometimes they do play back-to-back 50-over matches. So it's not that physically they are not fit. They might be able to do it. Not ideal, but it's only the fast bowlers they want to rotate, and they have an extra one. Like Shami and Prasidh was sitting out today. They can even get an extra spinner on certain occasion and rotate their fast bowler. Shouldn't be a problem. I think they just need to concentrate on the next 2 games, which is the Pakistan game and the Sri Lanka game, qualify for the final. Maybe if by the time you play Bangladesh, you already qualified for the final, you could make wholesome changes, completely rotate the squad. So you can look at all those things going forward. So it's not something that India would need to worry about right now.
Okay, because you would ideally want some game time for your fast bowlers, because see, Bumrah hasn't bowled at all. He had a chance at Palakele, but the rain spoiled that. Now, against Nepal, he couldn't make it because he had to go back to Mumbai. And now, you could potentially see, if the rain doesn't happen tomorrow, you could potentially see Bumrah back-to-back 10 overs.
For
Maybe
2
it's a tough
consecutive
initiation for him.
days, yeah.
That might be the thing to look out for, isn't it?
Doesn't matter. No, doesn't matter. He plays 2 matches, doesn't play the 3rd one.
Yeah.
I'm sure he can do that. I'm sure he
Okay.
can do that. Bowls 10 overs here, 10 overs the next match. Doesn't play the next one. You ask Bumrah today, he'll say he'd want to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, the man would be itching, right? Months sitting on the sideline, not having played any cricket. Also now with an extra, jump in his stride he'll have because of him becoming a father. So that exuberance will also come into the play. That coupled with the fact that he hasn't played international cricket in a long time, I think he'd be okay. He'd be okay playing 2 games. Maybe third game, yeah, fair enough. Third game, rest him, rotate between Shami, Siraj and Bumrah. You could clearly do that. Maybe next game, let Bumrah be partnered by Shami, Siraj rest. The final game against Bangladesh, Siraj and Shami play, Bumrah rest. I don't think that's too much of a problem. That's a luxury that the Indian team can afford with the number of fast bowlers they have. And as I said, maybe if you want to rest another fast bowler, you can always bring in Prasidh for that Bangladesh game if you already qualified for the final. So something that they can look at, isn't it?
Yep, they can. And Nikhil, but the day started with a bit of tension because Shreyas Iyer's back spasm. And even Sunil Gavaskar had stated that you have to be worried now about Shreyas Iyer's fitness. Now, back spasm, do you think that he can take any further part in this Asia Cup looking at the injuries, the nature of the injury? Is the team management confident that he can recover for the final, or do you have your doubts?
No idea. We haven't heard from the team management at all. And you're not going to hear from them today because the match is not over. I think the earliest we'll get to hear from them is tomorrow, unless a press release is also made public. But I don't think they're going to take a call on his future in the Asia Cup so suddenly. As an Indian fan and an Indian team management, you should be worried. Back has been giving him trouble consistently. He's part of the World Cup, and I thought he's recovered completely, and he was showing signs of recovery. Don't get me wrong. I've been watching him very closely in the nets, in his training sessions, in the gym, in indoor nets, everywhere. He was showing no sign of discomfort. Suddenly pulls up. It happened, by the way, for those of you speculating that, this is an excuse to just fit KL Rahul. That's not the case. Now I've got confirmation very closely that it was after the huddle. The Indian team had a huddle, and then they were doing some exercises. And I think the precise point where he actually pulled up his back was when he was taking high catches. Oh. So he was running very fast, taking high catches at the boundary. Something seemed to have happened where he, suddenly developed pain in his back. That's a recurring injury. After which he was quickly tested by the trainer and physio, and then decided that you can't risk him while batting because he could not perform those drills that are needed for him to be past fit to be batting or fielding for 50 overs. And it was, the Indian coach Rahul Dravid running helter-skelter after that. A bit worried as to what to do. The team manager was a bit worried. So they ran then to KL Rahul, took him inside. Rahul Dravid took him inside and then explained the situation to him, saying, this is what has happened, boy, you have to get ready. Because KL Rahul had been told he's not part of the 11 when the team meeting happened last night. He was not part of the 11. Shreyas pulls up this morning. Last moment KL is told, and then he started warming up and preparing himself, then started hitting the ball a bit. Doing a bit of batting practice. If you see, KL started doing immediately after that, once he was informed that Shreyas has pulled up with an injury. But I agree with what Harbhajan has said, and that video is up on Sports Today, that NCA needs to be checked. I mean, there are so many checks and balances in place. How is it that he crosses all of that and is past fit, and again that problem comes? If there is a major problem, then sort it out once and for all. Because you're picking a team for the World Cup. If you have even an iota of doubt in terms of his fitness or that injury can come back, then you pick somebody else. You better pick somebody else. There are other middle order batters in Surya Kumar Yadav. You got in the squad, bring up Tilak Verma or whoever you want in the middle order. You have to go that way. It's better to have an inexperienced but fully fit batter than an experienced but half fit player in the team. So that is a call that India would have to take. And I think the next 3 days, they'll really have to assess his fitness, because again, whoever you want to pick, you want him to be here in Asia Cup. Whoever the backup is for Shreyas, want him to be here in the Asia Cup. You just can't keep relying on a Shreyas Iyer. And anyway, you don't know full fitness of KL Rahul, though he batted well today. But this is a cause of concern. And, some investigation, some, digging out of facts from the NCA needs to happen.
But now that KL Rahul has played in the team today, what happens in the next match? Does Ishan Kishan, if he's recovered from that spasm, does he come back? Does KL keep his place? What do you think will happen?
Oh, a tricky one. I see. If you ask me the best 11 should feature a Shreyas Iyer and should feature an Ishan Kishan right now. That's my opinion. Having said that, I also wanted KL Rahul to get a few games, because you really want to see him, how he's emerged. See what has happened with Shreyas, right? You want to see if this happens with KL or not. But next game, maybe that question will be easier answered once KL finishes his batting. He's just started well. hit 2 boundaries, good boundaries, so no rustiness, is looking good, using that experience. But I want to see how he finishes. And then it's a straight-on battle between Ishan and KL Rahul. Because I would want to see Shreyas Iyer as well. But if there's going to be, assuming there are doubts over Shreyas Iyer's fitness, and you look at a backup player to come in, a middle order player, whether it's Tilak Verma or whoever you look at, I think in that scenario, if that was to happen and Shreyas goes out, then in that scenario, both Ishan and KL will play, most likely. Then KL just plays as a batter, Ishan plays as a wicketkeeper. That is your next best 11. So I think Indian team might do that with the replacement middle order player, if that is Tilak, then being part of the squad but not getting into the 11, both KL as well as Ishan playing. If you remember, Sunil Gavaskar on Sports Today pointed that out even before this entire injury conundrum of Shreyas Iyer happened. He said that this is an option that India can look at. And so this Asia Cup could have given us some indication based on the form of Ishan Kishan and KL Rahul. Maybe we'll get to see it. Maybe Shreyas, then, if it's back spasm, may not be available immediately next game. So let's say India play 2 games with both Ishan and KL in the 11. That'll be interesting. Then we'll get to see who's performing better. And so if Shreyas come back, then who goes out? Or if Shreyas doesn't come back and a youngster comes in, then no problem. The problem is solved on its own. Both then play in KL and Ishan.
I mean, the incident that you narrated, Nikhil, about that injury to Shreyas, I mean, yet again, for the second straight time, a freak injury. I mean, you remember in Ahmedabad, he was just sitting and waiting for his turn to bat.
And
when he got up, he suddenly felt a shooting pain. And because of that nerve compression that was there in his lower disc, in that lower vertebral area, that was the reason he had to undergo surgery.
Correct.
It was a freak injury, and here, taking a high catch running back, who suffers a back spasm at that time?
It happens because they probably would have gotten to the field by then, and if your body is not warmed up, if your muscles are not warmed up and you suddenly give a lot of pressure on it, then spasms tend to develop. When you overuse
So
your
that's a
muscle,
valid point.
warm
That's
up
a valid.
enough.
No, that's a valid point that Gargi is making, that if you do not warm up, this will happen. But my point is this: these are billion-dollar cricketers with
Exactly. That's
high
true.
performance trainers and physios and work charts that they follow and so on and so forth. And while you're right, if that has happened, then that's carelessness, right? And how can that be allowed to happen? Imagine, I'm saying today you're equating cricket at the level of football. Imagine if before an important game, Lionel Messi pulls up because the trainer did not warm him enough. They do this exactly, right? They make them do drills that are warmed up so that he does not have any issue. I mean, on-field injury is another thing, I agree. But getting injured in training because you are not warmed up and spasm developing, then it's the whole fault of the trainer. That trainer would be fired. Those trainers are paid, in lakhs and crores of money, and they have that expertise to ensure this doesn't happen. And if it has happened because you didn't warm him up enough, then someone has to be held responsible for that. It needs to be investigated. And I hope if I was the coach in Rahul Dravid and captain in Rohit Sharma, and if I needed Shreyas Iyer and if he's back spasm based on not getting warmed up enough, then I'm going to haul up the trainer and physio who did that. I wouldn't want to see him with the team next. No, this is the highest level of cricket. It's not school level cricket where somebody is filling in as a trainer or a physio. If this has happened, then that person needs to be immediately removed from that position and get someone more competent, if that is the case again.
Yeah, and anyway, back injuries are so delicate.
Yeah.
One thing goes wrong, and to think, Shreyas Iyer has had surgery, so it's
And
just
back
that much
injuries
more.
take a lot more time to heal nowadays also, because
you're just very careful with them. You don't want recurrences, which ironically has happened here. And in fact, you know what that does? It makes me worry about Bumrah as well.
because see, Janice Lilly, you look at Bruce Reed, James Pattinson, Jasprit Bumrah, Shane Bond,
Ian Bishop.
everybody's had bad back injuries, and a batter getting
But those are fast bowlers, Those
This
are
is a
fast
batsman,
bowlers, bend
yeah.
their back like foot in. You know what? Batters also, I tell you one thing. I'll give you, and I covered a lot of cricket at that time. VVS Lakshman had a terrible back. Terrible. Rahul Dravid had a lot of back issues. Sachin Tendulkar in his prime developed a lot of back issues. Batters tend to do it too. But I can't remember any of these guys. And I'm talking about 2 decades before this, right? Where science was less evolved, where trainers were less aware. where physiotherapists were also, beginning to understand sports science. In that nascent stage of training and physiotherapy, you found ways, desi techniques to keep that back going, where even despite having really bad backs, you would have players, play test matches. And I know that VVS Lakshman Rao interacted a lot with them. They would develop that during a test match. Sometimes they'd be not out overnight, yet could find ways to be available next day batting, right? With back spasm and all that. I'm saying when all of this technique, training, physiotherapy, science has evolved so much 2 decades later, you would have had to find better ways to cope with that. I'm afraid it's getting worse. Rahul Dravid, can you think of how many matches he missed because of injury? He had a bad back. Not many that I can remember. VVS Lakshman missed a few, I remember, but he also had knee issues and so on and so forth. But they would manage their backs in a way. I've been to their rooms. They would be sleeping on the floor sometimes without a mattress and a hard floor, finding ways. Those are simple, basic, techniques passed on from generation to generation, not based on sports science and all, and they would do it. Everything is evolving, everything is getting better. I'm sure they could have found ways, but the results are only getting worse. I don't know what, I mean, so here everything is evolving, but your injury status is going down.
Exactly.
I just can't understand how that is happening.
And remember, Lakshman with a dodgy back also played in a test match and helped you win against Australia.
Yeah, he was listing during that particular match.
Exactly.
Not just him, even
Sachin Tendulkar had a terrible back spasm, 137 that Chennai test
Yes,
match.
136.
99. 99. What an inning! It's just after 137 where he just plays that one bad shot. But throughout that inning, Saklain I think bowled him.
Yeah,
he mistimed it.
He topped it.
But was batting with that belt, around his back with worse problem, and you could see it while he was batting.
Yep.
Again, I'm just saying I don't know the extent of injuries. We're just saying, but all I'm saying is, if you even talk about facts and not the extent of the injury, the fact is that these injuries are happening far more often.
Yep.
Whereas I know of players previously who also had back issues, but they could somehow manage those injuries better without so much of science and technology and experts working on them. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. That's not something that, we're just making up or guessing about. Those are facts.
Yep, true. Indeed. So because of this, India have still not played with their ideal core.
Yeah.
They have still not played, and doesn't look like they're going to play until potentially the final.
Maybe Sri Lanka.
or perhaps
Sri Lanka, no, I don't think so.
Actually, you'll see some forced rotation.
Bangladesh, maybe you could say.
You'll see rotation there too.
Because you play 2 games on the trot, you are not
4 years.
that much of rotation. You'll have to see rotation in the Bangladesh game. Unfortunate.
4 years, 2 months still remains the last time India and Pakistan completed an official
ODI.
one-day international.
2019.
4 years and 2 months.
Yep.
4 years and 2 months. Though this is a very smart stat in the sense that they've not come across each other. So, the chances of that happening wasn't going to be there. But technically, it still remains, right? 4 years. Because why I'm saying it, I hear a lot of fans, our team is better, that is better, we did this, we did that, but people forget all that you're talking about is T20s that you've played, and two other matches which were half match, and here today also half a match. And basis all of this, all assumptions are made. Our bowling is better, their batting, this is a better team there. I mean, quite frankly, they haven't really faced off against each other since 2019. So we still don't know which is a better ODI team. Pakistan may be number 1 at the moment, but I still feel India in a 50-over format is a far superior team. And they've done really well. That's a format where India tend to do very well because they play that format very well. And Pakistan reaching number 1, again, taking nothing away from them. Good bowling attack and all that. Really haven't played top-class teams at peak.
Yes.
The one-day team. So we'll only know their true status of being a top ODI team when they perform against India and Australia and England. I think they played South Africa, but more often.
No, they even played Australia. They won against Australia 2-1, but that was at home. So.
Yeah.
Always an asterisk.
Always an asterisk on those
Pakistan winning
roads.
their winning streak.
And also not a full-fledged Australian
Correct.
team.
Yeah, that was a double asterisk. That was a double asterisk, not a full-fledged Australian team in that sense. So,
Also, this is world number 2 versus 3 at the moment, right?
Yeah, Australia went to number 1 because of their win at Bloemfontein yesterday. So that was some crazy batting from the Aussies.
On an absolute flat deck, though.
And who's leading the charge? Barnes Labuschagne of all guys.
He's still knocking the door.
They can make changes until 27th.
Yes.
Someone getting their heads knocked is the reason why Manas Labuschagne is knocking the door.
Of course, yeah. I mean, he and Yuzi Chahal can stake the claim to be one of the greatest concussion subs in the world.
Yeah.
You remember Yuzi Chahal and you remember Jadeja got hit in the during the T20I in Australia.
Right, now I remember.
So ideally a left armer should have gone in. No, they had a concussion with Yuzi Chahal. Langda was saying, how on earth is that fair?
How is that like for like?
How is that like for like? So, and Yuzi Chahal got you 3 wickets. He began to have the match. So that's the reason why concussion subs in. But yeah, 1.5 games that we're going to see of India and Pakistan. What could not happen for 4 years and 2 months.
You've got a what do you call it? TDI, 2-day international.
2-day international, yes. Like what you saw in 2019. Yeah, in 2019 semi-final. That was a 2-day semi-final. So much trends are changing.
Or maybe TDRII, 2-day rain interrupted international.
I think the rain is really making us all scrambled at this point in time.
Yeah.
See, you had a 2-day international, then you had a 3-day IPL final.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That lasted more than the ping ball test in Ahmedabad at the same venue. Congratulations.
3-day how?
Because it's
Oh, it went
into the next day,
next
no?
morning.
Calendar.
Yeah.
By the time
I
you had the
remember.
result, you had moved into the 3rd day.
I know. I remember getting home at 5. So
I remember getting home at 4 and then coming to office at 10:30.
Exactly. Which is what's going to happen even tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
Because of this. So,
Oh man, life.
we only pray that the rain doesn't come tomorrow.
yeah.
Because then you'll have no answers from this Asia Cup whatsoever. Forget if you beat Sri Lanka. Forget if you beat Bangladesh.
You'd
don't get the main
be
answer.
expected to beat those teams.
Yeah. Sri Lanka kind of disagree. Yeah, come on.
Quickly have a look at some comments though.
Yeah, let's have a look at the
Shivam, can
comments.
we have a look at some of the comments?
Yep.
Perfect. Let's see what you guys have to say.
Okay, team,
Gentlemen.
who should be in supposing Shreyas is out? Which batsman? Sanju or Tilak?
Sanju's gone home, so actually, if you're looking at it, no, why? If Shreyas is out,
Surya
then they might just play with the same 11.
The 11 you
Yeah,
played
KL will
today.
start.
Yeah.
What Surya Pure has? KL will start.
Okay, plenty of super.
KL will start and he'll do very well. KL Rahul.
I hope he does.
Yeah.
Now with the squad that you have and the people you're seeing now, forget what's happened has happened. Now you just wish that everyone in the 11 just does well now.
Yeah. Shubham Singh, see about Shreyas Iyer, Nikhil explained why
Yeah.
it was the back spasm that happened. You rewind the.
And we really hope, we also actually agree with him and say that, it's not a repeat of what happened during the Border Gavaskar Trophy series, because again, he had that this thing and months out, months.
Yep. So Vishal Panchal, it's a question for all of us, but I
Same
will
from the
Nikhil answer
United
it.
States by the way, that he woke up at 5:30 for the match.
And he says fans being taken for granted can't control rain, but the administrator can control the schedule. Yeah, that is.
Nikhil, what do you? He's gone. Okay.
That's why, no? That's why we're here, because the administrator can
But the
control the
administrator
schedule.
can control the schedule. I'm sorry, the administrator chose not to control the schedule this time in 2023.
On a different way.
But this time again, Vishal,
There was only one
you know,
control though, Vishal. One control.
Reserve
How?
day.
No. How our ego is bigger than the other person's ego. That is the only
the
control
control
there.
there again. I think what he does mean over here is as to why perhaps the match couldn't have started earlier. I think that's what he means.
Just scroll down. Vishal has given us another
Yeah,
super.
one more comment did come that on Sundays 9 to 6 is prime time. Not for the broadcasters, my friend. They didn't consider 9 to 6 as peak broadcast time.
In fact, as he says that, what Nikhil's saying that be happy you're getting a match, he's saying he doesn't agree because it's unfair to other teams and the schedule during monsoon in Sri Lanka. I have lost
But
interest.
Vishal, it is not Sri Lanka's fault. It is the fault of the BCCI and the PCB.
It's
Yeah.
about power play at the moment.
They wanted to put Sri Lanka on the chopping
And not the
block.
cricketing kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the cricketing. It is the administrative.
Yes. The
block, let's say.
administrative tussle between the BCCI and the PCB has ensured that Sri Lanka is on the chopping block now. Because Sri Lanka had no choice. As I said, they can't be choosers. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So why on earth are you going to say scheduled during monsoon? I've been telling it for the past 20 years. Champions Trophy was a precedent. T20 World Cup was a precedent. How on earth can you not organize in September of all months?
Of all months. All months.
September.
Let's see.
There's a lot. Okay, Dex, Harshit, Shane, DFB, but Hansi Flick will take a call on that. But Japan humiliated Germany twice. Oh,
Yeah, won the World
Cup
Cup.
also.
World Cup 2-1, 4-1 yesterday night.
4-1.
My goodness. Is he talking about Julian Nagelsmann?
Yeah, when he says Julian, I think he means Nagelsmann because he's unemployed right now. So.
Okay.
Marcello Lippi, fat chance, by the way.
Ex-Italian
Yeah.
2006 World Cup.
I think so. Yes.
He was there.
Yeah.
6.
Who else was the manager? It was Lippi only, I'm sure.
Marcelo. So,
So Akash Bhargava says that I think you'll see Prasidh and Shami in the Sri Lanka game by resting Bumrah. Quite possible because although I would like to see Bumrah play.
I think Akash needs
Siraj
to
might
rest
rest.
Bumrah for
Maybe I think why he's
Bangladesh.
saying that is for the Sri Lanka we play day after, right? No.
But after India, Pakistan are playing tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow effectively. But maybe Shami, they might want to be cautious with
I
it.
would want to
with Bumrah.
get Shami in and Bumrah rested for Bangladesh.
Last match, no?
Yeah, because
But
I think you are probably making the
If
final.
you have Bumrah bowl 10 overs tomorrow, I'm not too sure if you want him to do that the day after that as well.
How much will you rotate him, yaar?
Who?
Bumrah.
You shouldn't rotate him at all at this point.
Again, not sure.
Because you want him to get game time. How much game time? One game is not enough. 2 games is not enough. You need at least to play him on a consistent basis. That's the thing. Joyson Fernandez is saying who has the advantage on reserve.
India.
Can I say I think Pakistan will be very glad that this game got stopped because momentum is broken now. Whatever innings momentum you had is gone. And by the way, tomorrow you'll have a scratchy Kohli and an even slightly scratchier Rahul back at the crease. I would say if I'm Pakistan, I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with the interruption.
Yeah.
I am actually much more happier that it's not a T20 because I was looking at a much bigger.
Actually, if it was a T20, I think India would have definitely held the edge.
Then yes.
Yeah, Pakistan would have been worried.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Because 20 overs, I think the target was 181. If
But,
181.
by the way, imagine them chasing 181 and 20 with Imamul Haq coming out to bat.
no, they would have changed the batting, but
It doesn't.
Bumrah,
But Fakar would have definitely come up.
Bakar,
Who is that?
Oh man.
Fakar and Bakar. It's called Fakar. Okay. So yeah, Fakar Zaman, see they would have changed the batting lineup definitely.
Then they would have
the car.
No, they would have sent out their traditional T20 batting.
Babar
and Rizwan.
We have
Also, two people who love playing with strike rate.
Imam probably would have batted even after Fahim Ashraf.
Yeah. Raman speaks is saying, can the match start by 12 p.m. at least by 7?
No,
Raman.
No, Raman, it's already been confirmed 3 p.m. start.
It's not.
Much as I would love that,
It's arbitrary cricket, but it's not gully cricket. Ki chalo 12 baje kal milte hain.
this close.
Yeah.
This
It's
close.
not happening, Raman. That's
Yeah, I think, okay, let's try and take one more comment, then we can call it an evening because we'd still be here for a while. Bless you. That's what happens with the AC.
no, it's not easy. It's some dust. Sorry.
Where is the dust
That's
coming
all.
from?
There is some
He
dust.
will defend Sri Lanka cricket, he will defend New Zealand
And the
cricket,
AC
And
is-
it's
Sri
extreme
Lanka
cold.
and AC to death.
I will. Don't say death here. It's very tough times. We are working so much that please. Okay.
More than
Was that the best joke of the day?
That was actually a good one. Random,
You know
but
the thing is, unintended joke.
yeah.
We need something because it's been so dull and so boring. I'm telling you.
It has been.
So lifeless, you mean?
Exactly. Like this.
Last question, I think Fahad's is a good one. Says, do we expect so many changes even in the World Cup? No more spirit of cricket, just money, money, money.
He's speaking about ABBA's song.
Yeah,
And
in
that
this
is-
rich man's world.
In the rich man's world. See, the World Cup is already an unmitigated disaster. Thank you, BCCI.
Did you get tickets?
Huh? No, tickets are another. Why would I? I'm not going to go by Nikhil's statement that, oh, you have to spend time at the station,
Railway
go by
station.
bus. Are you crazy? Delhi to Ahmedabad by bus?
That'll be fun.
I am not doing that, yeah. I will not even go there to have the fafada jalebis. I'm
That's
not.
okay, you'll get them here.
I know. But spending a night in the railway tracks, I'm sorry, boss. I'm not that big crazy person to ensure that I have to go to Ahmedabad for India Pakistan. But then look at organization. Look at the way how it has been handled. The fans have been taken for a royal ride.
And they're okay with it somehow.
They're okay with it. The Indian cricket fan is okay that the BCCI plays around with them. They may not be playing cricket. They play around with the emotions of the fans. But the fans are happily wanting to say, oh, hurry, we want tickets.
And we want India-Pakistan.
We want India-Pakistan. Tomorrow, in whatever sporting sense you look at it, it is the most unfair sporting day in the history of the sport.
Unless it rains out.
Unless it means
Then
it's divine justice. Isn't it?
anyway, we will again be back with you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, this time you get something. Let's see what happens.
I'm not all optimistic.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not either, because again, quite frankly, the weather forecast for tomorrow is worse than what today
Yeah.
was, and you saw how bad today was.
Yeah, today, but only one sharp patch of
By the way, very interesting. It's not just this match that had a reserve day, but looks like that the Canadian Prime Minister stay in India also moves into the So apparently his aircraft has developed some sort of snack, so he stays another night in India.
And with that, we can call it a night.
We can call it a day. Today was the last day, right?
Today was the last day for all leaders, if I'm not wrong.
Most of them have in fact left.
Yeah.
I thought
Rishi Sunak has left. Biden left sometime in the evening.
Okay, I thought
Canadian
Rishi
Prime
Sunak was going to be here.
No, he's left.
They were all leaving today. Most of them would have left at some point or the
Yeah.
other. So poor Justin Trudeau gets to spend another day
Only
here.
we haven't
So
left.
he'll go to the Golden Temple then. If he's got one more day to kill.
Not touching that with a 10-foot rod.
Stop right there.
Okay, Akash Bharadwaj, your prediction for late night Djoko Medvedev. He says Djoko. I also think
Medvedev.
Djokovic.
Looks like
Everyone is saying Djokovic. I'll be the contrarian. Medvedev.
No, but he might very well do it.
he's done it before.
He's done it before.
He denied in the calendar slam in 2021.
Correct. Anyway.
Very cold.
Yep. Yep. So.
चलो जी कल मिलते हैं.
Okay, so see you tomorrow. India versus Pakistan, Chapter 2, Part 2. From all of us here, good night.
Bye bye.